Hi, everyone. Welcome to Baking and Boozing. I am your chef and host for today, Amber. I am super excited about today's episode. We are in episode 5. I have actually had this guest planned since I started planning Baking and Boozing. I knew that for October, I was going to ask my spookiest and witchiest friend to accompany me on today's episode. So please meet my friend, Corinne. Corinne, say hi to everyone.
Hi.
Corinne and I have been really good friends for how many years now? Maybe 6, 7? Sounds about right. We have had some really spooky adventures together. But Corinne, let's talk a little bit about how we met. We did meet on the job. I think we did have a really great moment where we both were like, oh, this gal, I really think we could actually be friends.
My roommate, Madly, was going to Tulane and she was studying a lot of old Louisiana documents. And she described it to me as being from that time period where in the written word, S's and F's were written kind of interchangeably. And then she whipped out this gem of a word, which is Mississippi.
I'll never forget that day, Corinne. You told this story to literally everyone that worked in the restaurant. And I thought it was hilarious.
Nobody else thought it was funny. Then the moment I knew you were truly weird, weirder than you looked, was not only did you laugh, but later you finally made those lemon bars that the guys kept messing up on you. You went, I made them. It's a Christmas miracle. And that's when I knew we were going to be friends.
Oh God. But it truly was a Christmas miracle because I messed those lemon bars up every single time. And finally, I don't know, I guess I got the boys to leave me alone. The Lost Boys. They were, I was the only female working in the kitchen at the time. And oh man, those boys needed a mother. So I was like Wendy in Neverland with the Lost Boys. So that one day, it just happened to be the Mississippi day. And those lemon bars really came through for us. And with that being said, you started inviting me to your place. We would do fun things together like candle making, which you just made me a candle. This is honeysuckle jasmine. That's why it reminds me of New Orleans because of all of the honeysuckle that's around the city. Anyway, so Corinne is crafty as all get out. She started including me in her craft making. We did candles one night. What was the blackberry? Oh, that was Anne of Green Gables night. Yeah, I never really read the series. I read the first book, Anne of Green Gables, but you and our other New Orleans bestie were super into the series and you're like, we're gonna watch this movie. Do you want to come over? And I was like, well, yeah, of course I do. So we had a fun movie night. We got to do blackberry cordials. It was the birth of our giraffe tongue, which if you don't know, giraffes have grayish black tongues. And after drinking enough blackberry cordial, we all had our tongues dyed grayish black. So then we took a photo together and it turns out I'm spectacular at making giraffe tongue.
You managed to make it cute. This is a good story because it sets an excellent precedent for what's about to happen now, because I was the one who decided that I should make us Anne of Green Gables snacks for this, which meant blueberry scones and raspberry cordial. But I didn't actually make raspberry cordial. I used that gross black raspberry vodka stuff, and it was like condensed with age. That's what happened. It was disgusting tasting.
Yeah, but we drank enough to dye our tongues black.
Yeah. I made a terrible mixed drink. I don't know how the scones turned out either anymore.
I don't know. Anyway, Corinne, I would love for us to get started baking. In order to get this show on the road, I do want to ask you a few questions just so we can set up our expectations for this afternoon. So my first question is on a scale of 0 to 10. Where would you rank yourself as far as cocktail making goes, given that story?
That was a terrible example. I'd say, given adequate instruction, I could probably be a 10. Left to my own devices, I will whip up something really makeshift and it won't be very good.
Okay, but I feel like it's worth mentioning that you are a rock star barista as well. So I do think that you have a handle on drink mixing, whether or not it includes alcohol. Great job on giving yourself a 10. I love the confidence. It's so you.
Thank you.
Question number 2, where would you rank your baking skills?
Baking doesn't leave a lot of room for hot mess behavior. I'd say like 6, but mostly because you get lucky sometimes.
Okay. Well, good news. The treat that we're making today is not very baking intensive. And I did that mostly so you and I could enjoy our drinks.
Love you so much.
There are a couple other questions that I do want to ask. We are absolutely doing Harry Potter themed. It is spooky season. I dedicated all of my baking this month to Harry Potter themes. So I'd like to introduce the fact that we are making pumpkin pasties for our little treat today. And then for our alcoholic beverage, we are making cold butter beer. Now, butter beer, I've seen many recipes. Some are frozen, some are hot. Ours is just going to be shaken in a cocktail shaker. I don't know how we really should be serving it, but that's what we're going to go with today. I know it's super hot in New Orleans right now. We're technically in a heat wave in San Francisco, but really that just means we have a high of 75 degrees today, which is laughable. But still, we'll just pretend. Next question. What is your favorite cocktail?
Ooh. The one I'm the best at making is an old fashioned, but
Ooh.
kind of varied. I usually just like things to be a little different.
I think actually in past episodes I've asked, what is your favorite spirit? So building on that, what is your favorite spirit?
Mezcal.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What's your favorite?
Jen.
I didn't know that.
Cheers. Here, I'll cheers. I'm drinking my witch water.
Cheers, witch.
All right, final question before we get started. What is your favorite pastry or dessert?
It probably has pumpkin in it or creme brulee.
Oh, we could do pumpkin creme brulee. You know that, right?
Holy crap.
Mm-hmm. So a pumpkin-y dessert or a creme brulee dessert, maybe a combination of the two, that would be your ideal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, fortunately for you, we are doing a pumpkin dessert today. We should get started on prepping our pumpkin pasties filling. Now, I keep calling it pasties. That is what they call it in the movies and in the book. But really what we're doing is just making a pumpkin filled turnover. So I'm excited about these. I tweaked this recipe so that we can add in a little bit of butter brushed on top, and then optional, if you want to just drizzle some turbinado sugar just for a little crunch, go ahead and do that right before you pop it in. First things first is start by preheating your oven to 425. Let's go ahead and combine our eggs and our sugar until they are light and fluffy. I'm going to do all of this by hand, Corinne. I don't know if you have a mixer and you want to do it via mixer, but I don't have any challenging ingredients, so I'm just going to do it by hand.
Okay, I'll just do it by hand if you're gonna.
Yeah, when I mix things by hand, that's typically the only upper body workout that I ever get. So we try. Is start by preheating your oven to 425. Okay, we have 2 eggs and we are going to use 100 grams of sugar.
And I just beat them with a beater?
Yes. Mix it together with your whisk. Let's show these eggs who's boss.
How mixy does this get? Should it get like smooth or just, how do you know?
Yeah, it'll be smooth. And it also, your eggs will turn a little bit lighter yellow in color. Really like put some muscle into it. And I always switch up my hand positions too, just so I can give my arms a break. Because again, this is the only exercise that my upper body really gets.
Is this for your more even tone?
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it at all with my left hand. It's just a spaz attack. It's not good.
Yeah, that's something I definitely had to practice when I was in pastry school, is being able to whisk with both hands. I was a nightmare when I first started. Okay, so I just want to show you without tipping it out. Mine is like fluffy-ish.
I can't show you mine.
I cannot see. Does it have little air bubbles in it?
It does. Is that good or bad?
It's good. You want it to look a little bit like it has a foam on top. Next is going to be our spices. Half a teaspoon of cardamom, 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of allspice, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of cloves, and 1 teaspoon of ginger, along with my 28 grams of melted butter and our pumpkin. The pumpkin is coming straight out of 15-ounce can. So spices in. Okay. The other thing about our mixture is that if you were like me and you just pulled your eggs out of the refrigerator, your eggs are going to be a little cold. Your butter is going to be a little warm. If you pour warm butter into cold eggs, it will solidify. So what you're going to want to do is start whisking your egg mixture as you pour your butter in, so that your butter is moving with the mixture and doesn't just clump up into one solid butter mess. So slowly pour it in as you whisk. Of course, if your eggs were room temperature, this will not be an issue. So maybe start by leaving your eggs out for room temperature. So my butter, my spices, my eggs, and my sugar are all beautifully blended together. It is time to add pumpkin.
Oh, wait, was the butter supposed to go in before the pumpkin?
You can put your butter in right now.
I'm terrible at listening to instructions the first time.
Oh, that's okay. That's why I'm here. Gonna mix my pumpkin in. Corinne, have you smelled it? It smells so good.
It smells good.
Last but not least, we are going to pour our evaporated milk in, and we're using one 12-ounce can of evaporated milk. I just broke my handle on my.
What is that?
It's my can opener. Okay, so real talk, I'm a lefty. Can openers used to be my absolute nemesis, and I had to learn to not approach them with fear in my heart, because you know they're like printers. They can smell your fear or your deadlines. So if you've got something on the stove and you really need to get that can open and you're a lefty, you better have had that open already, because it will fail. So I think I might be a little too aggressive with can openers now, because I just walk up to them like, I don't care, I'm gonna do it, it's gonna be fine. And then I manhandle the crap out of it, I guess, to the point where I break it. So we don't need can openers anymore for the rest of today, I don't think. So I should be fine. Yeah. Where were we? Oh yeah, we were pouring our evaporated milk into our pumpkin mixture. Yum, yum. And just dump that whole can right in. Now, I did not choose wisely when it came to my bowl selection. So my bowl is very full. That means that I'm going to whisk very slowly to start with. Otherwise, I will splash my pumpkin mixture all over myself. So if you have a full bowl, be very slow with your mixture. Did you get yours mixed in already?
Yeah, but I used a ginormous bowl.
Got it.
It's like October baptizing you. Spooky season baptism.
This is very liquidy. I was not anticipating this being so liquidy. We'll figure it out. We'll see what happens. Next steps are to pour this into a greased pan and bake it for 15 minutes. So I'm going to use something like this. And I think we're just, yeah, that's totally fine. I think we're just going to be scooping it. The baking right now is to probably solidify this a little bit better so that we can use it as our pasties filling. Pouring it right on in.
Grease it or something?
Yeah, it says to grease it. I usually just use butter. I splashed it on my skirt.
Huh?
Sorry.
Oh,
I splashed it on my skirt.
Because blessed you.
I got my October baptism.
When you grease things with butter, do you just take the stick of butter and rub it all over it?
Yep.
Okay, making sure. I didn't know if that was like my haphazard thing or if that's a perfectly legitimate method.
It's what I do, but like some people will actually freak out at you when they see that being done. Yeah.
What type of people are we talking? Like pastry professionals?
Or like uptight in the kitchen kind of people. Okay. We should pop these into the oven, and I'm going to set a 15-minute timer, and that way this will solidify. Actually, I'm kind of concerned about this mixture that's in the oven. It's just so liquidy, and I mean, I haven't made this before, so who knows what this is going to turn out like. While that is in the oven, I think we should go ahead and make our butterscotch whipped topping for our butter beer. How does that sound?
Delightful. Is this something that I'll want to use my kitchen for, or is it a hand whipping friendly thing too?
Occasionally, I like to show off and make whipped cream by hand. I feel like most people could do it. They just don't know they can do it because they've never really seen it done before. So I do kind of use this as like a party trick. Oh yeah, let me just whip up some cream and I will just do it by hand. And it's a lot of fun, but That's not what we're here for today. We are here to eat and drink, and I don't want to stand in the way of that. So let's plan to use our mixer. For our butterscotch whipped topping, I'm so excited about this. We are going to whip our heavy cream just until it starts to thicken. And then we are going to add in our butterscotch sauce, which I just got ice cream topping.
I think that's the same one Brad found.
Is it really?
I think it took 3 grocery stores for us to
Oh my
find.
God. In order to make your whipped cream, a lot of times recipes will be very, very specific about having a chilled bowl. I never chill my bowl, but then again, that's me. I never take my heavy whipping cream out until I need to use it. So that's probably why I have good success, is because it is in the low 40s. So that's probably why I never have any issues. So what we'll do, Corinne, we will go ahead and put our heavy whipping cream into our bowls, start whipping it until it starts holding together. We will stop our mixers, add in our butterscotch sauce and sugar, and then we will whip it until it is solid. Questions?
I forgot about the quantities on this because my phone's up there.
Oh, I got you. No worries. It is calling for 60 grams of heavy cream. Do you want to have some for later? Because in which case we can double our whipped topping recipe on the fly.
Yeah, let's save some for Bradley first.
Okay, so we are going to make a double recipe of the whipped topping. So let's do 120 grams of heavy cream.
That's like significantly less half and half than I was thinking it would need.
Is that half and half or heavy whipping cream?
Heavy cream, I mean, yes.
Okay, the only reason I wanted to ask is because fat content is super important for getting your cream to whip. So if it was half and half, it would be half milk and you would probably have a little bit of a struggle. So otherwise, you're A-okay. All right, let's get these whipping.
What speed do I put this on?
Because it's a liquid, I'm gonna start on low just to get it moving. If you start your mixer on high, whether it's powdered sugar or liquid, it's just going to splash everywhere and it's obnoxious. So start on low. I don't know if you have a KitchenAid. I'm going to probably start mine on 4 and get it moving. And then as it solidifies more and more, I will move it up higher and higher. So just keep an eye on it so that you don't get a baptism as well.
Okay.
Okay. Is your whipped cream starting to hold its shape?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, we're gonna stop our mixers. Now that it's kind of holding its shape, we'll measure in our butterscotch topping. I actually might omit the sugar just because I feel like this is a lot of sugar. So I'm gonna put my butterscotch topping in. So again, remember, we are doing a double batch. Our recipe calls for 26 grams of butterscotch sauce, be 52 grams with our doubling. We're going to put this back on the mixer and whip it until it holds its shape and you can just scoop it onto your drink.
And we're not adding regular sugar, right?
I chose not to, but you can if you want. I feel like this butterscotch topping is really sweet. I typically don't put a lot of sugar in my fresh whipped cream anyway, just because I like the flavor of the cream to shine through. So again, I'll let you make that call. If you do want to add your sugar, the recipe calls for 12 grams. We're doing a double batch, so 24 grams of regular granulated sugar if you decide to do so.
Okay.
What are you giggling about?
Huh?
I can hear you giggling.
That's because I thought I would taste the syrup, so I poured some on my finger, not realizing just how liquidy it was.
I didn't hear any of that. What?
You'll see it.
Oh, so I'm gonna take my pumpkin out of the oven. Hopefully it is not a liquidy mess, and we'll see what happens. Okay, how's your whipped cream looking?
Excellent. Oh, I can take the whole thing off? Oh, that's advanced. Don't look at me.
Look away, look away. Yeah, this is really good. What?
I look like a toddler right now.
It's okay. I'm going to put this whole bowl into the refrigerator so that my whipped cream stays chilled and solid. And then I will be right back to lick the beater. We can go ahead and cut out the circles that we want to use. We do need to drop our oven temperature down to 350 degrees so we don't burn our pie crust. I think we should move on to the next step of our pasties, shall we?
Yes, indeed. I kept calling them pasties at work, and first Andy giggled, and then like a few minutes later, Andrew started making jokes, and then Shay couldn't handle it. So it turns out that you can't call them pumpkin pasties in front of boys because they think boobies are involved. That's how I read it in American.
It is absolutely how I read it too, so here's how it went down. I would read it in my head and I would say pasty, and that was totally fine in my head. But then when I saw the movie, they pronounced it pasty, and I was like, wait, why didn't they say pasty? And I'm like, oh, that's why they didn't say pasty. I'll show you this. I have my prepared pan with parchment on top, and I'm just gonna roll it out. This way I don't have to cover my countertop with flour. The largest cookie cutter I have isn't super large. I'd say it's about 2 inches, and I think I want my pasties to be a little bit bigger than that. So I'm going to use a glass. Before I get started, my timer did just go off, so I'm going to take the remaining pumpkin slop out of my oven, and then I'll get back to it. I'm just going to use the glass and cut out several rounds and place them all around my parchment paper.
I need 3 circles. I'm in kindergarten.
So the thing about using a glass instead of a cookie cutter is that it won't be quite as sharp. So you might have to just kind of smush down your edges if you're super particular about that sort of thing. Okay, very carefully, I'm gonna go get my pan of pumpkin slop, and then we can fill each one of our circles and then fold it in half. I'm going to scoop a little bit of my pumpkin filling and put a little dollop on the center of my circles. I didn't do a whole lot, mostly because I've worked with pasties before and they do like to overflow. So I just put less than a spoonful of this on the center.
I did a test one because I had no trust in myself. It tastes really good though.
I'm so excited about these. And for my next trick, all you will need is a fork, and all you do is fold your circle in half over the pumpkin, and I put way too much because my pumpkin's already coming out, but that's okay, it'll still be delicious. What's the saying about tacos? Tacos fall apart sometimes too, but we still love them.
We do.
Well, my pasty is falling apart, but I still love it. And then I'm just gonna take my fork and just press it around all of the edges to kind of seal in what's remaining of the pumpkin filling. And then we have this nice crimped edge sort of thing happening.
I know I should have started this process already, but I'm too busy eating like the custardy edges out of this. Even if you don't actually turn these into, you know, the final products, they're flipping amazing.
Yay!
New method. I squeeze them closed over the thing and then I press them.
Oh my God, look at you. You're brilliant.
Oh,
Brilliant.
No, it didn't really work. It was just a strong theory.
That's okay.
It's like the blackberry cordial all over again. Raspberry. It was supposed to be a raspberry cordial and I had blackberry vodka. That's what that was.
Sorry, I haven't been responding to your stories. I've just been shoveling mouthfuls of this pumpkin filling into my face. And I did a really big one right before you finished your story, so I had to take a minute before I could. All right, next thing that we're gonna do here, I'm just gonna grab a little paring knife. We need to vent our pasties. Basically, that means we just need to cut some holes in the top. That was classy.
Oh, you were watching already? I thought that was demo saving me. I was like, yeah, future Amber's gonna love that move.
That was so good. No, I really liked that one. Thank you. Where were we? Venting. We need to vent our pasties. Otherwise, the pumpkin filling on the inside will bubble up and explode, and we don't want that to happen. So what we're going to do is cut air vents into our pasties so that the hot air will escape and it won't destroy our pastry. Typically, you would just cut like a few lines, or you would dock it and do a few dots. I saw someone do a lightning bolt shape, like for Harry Potter, so I'm going to try that. So 1, 2.
So I recently read the whole series.
Yeah. Does that look like Cassiopeia to you? Sorry, does it look like the constellation, or does it look like the...
I love that you know your constellations that well.
Thank you.
Yeah, someone's got to know them, and it ain't me.
Anyway, I'm so sorry I interrupted you. You recently reread the entire Harry Potter series?
Really struck this time in a way that I wasn't when they first came out, by how distinctly Neville could have been the chosen one, and he still technically qualifies as the chosen one. He's just not the main character in the stories. He still did the second to final blow, and I just thought it was very interesting the way it was Voldemort's attention that actually made Harry the chosen one, as though he chose him.
It was in the prophecy where it says that he will mark him as his equal. And I think it was just because Voldemort went to Harry's parents' house and marked him as opposed to Neville. Okay, Corinne, I just put little lightning bolt symbols in all of mine, and I'm going to brush each one with a little bit of melted butter. So this is that other 1 tablespoon of melted butter that we have on the recipe. And I'm just going to coat very lightly each one of my pasties. And I have a little bit of turbinado sugar, and by a little bit, I mean an entire box.
Now, I forgot to grab some of that. Can I use just regular sugar? Will that work the same or not so much?
Yeah, it'll absolutely work. When you do, let's say, creme brulee, which is one of your favorites, I just found out, that is always just regular sugar.
If I were doing these all by myself, I would have been over it ages ago. It's so much more fun baking with you.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. I love that this makes it more accessible for you, and that you're not getting overwhelmed or like, oh, I'm done. Really happy to hear that. Ooh, what are you doing?
I'm cinnamoning them.
I kind of want to cinnamon mine too. I'm gonna do just a few, but yes, the cinnamon is a great addition. Okay, let's pop these babies in. And your oven should be down at 350. And we're gonna bake these for 12 minutes.
What should we do for those 12 minutes?
I'm gonna go grab my cocktail sugar, and we are going to make our butterbeer.
Woohoo!
I have cane sugar cream soda. I don't typically drink anything with carbonation in it. I gave up carbonated beverages 21 years ago, and I just have not really gotten into them again. But I will drink it today. Typically what I do is swish. So I'm hoping that I can just shake this a little bit, get rid of some of the carbonation, and then also swish it in my mouth to get rid of the carbonation too. I'm realizing now that I'm shaking it before it's open, and I likely will have a big fizz.
You open it on camera?
Although I can't like direct it towards you because that's my laptop, and that's going to be bad. So it won't be nearly as fun.
Get rid of some of that carbonation, Amber.
Sometimes I'm really smart, and then sometimes I do this. I'm gonna put some ice in here. And oh, not that it's gonna matter because I'm just gonna spray this everywhere. But for our drink today, I made myself a frosted mug. So I'm gonna get that. Then we can drizzle some of our syrup, our butterscotch syrup, into the mugs for like a decoration. And then I can walk through the steps of making our butterbeer.
You're gonna edit out like all of the me licking spoon moments, right?
Probably. I might leave a few in. Okay, I'm gonna do a drizzle into my frosted mug just to make it look cool. We're going to pour our cream soda, our butterscotch liqueur, our vodka and vanilla extract into our shaker that has ice already. And I still have this ridiculously huge bottle of vodka. Look at this. Okay, let's start with our cream soda. I'm so nervous about this. Well, that was anticlimactic.
So all right, how much are we using?
170 grams of cream soda, which is about half of my 12-ounce bottle, so about 6 ounces. Next, we will do 57 grams of our butterscotch liqueur. Next up will be our 28 grams of vodka, and then vanilla extract, which 5 grams. It says to stir with a long spoon, and I am certain that that is because you don't want to take away from the fizziness of the drink, but I absolutely want to take away the fizziness of the drink. So I'm going to shake mine. You do whichever works best for you. All right. And I'm going to go get the whipped cream, which you were a step ahead of me. Look at you. And I'm just going to spoon a little bit of this whipped cream out onto the top of my drink. All right. Cheers, Corinne.
Yes. Whoa.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, that's my timer. Holy crap.
That was really good.
Wow.
Sipping it through the whipped cream is amazing. Vodka, why not? Alcohol.
Seriously. Okay, I need to set that aside for a minute because my timer just went off.
Mine still look whiter than I think they should.
Yeah, mine do too. I think what I'm gonna do is crank up the heat just a smidge.
How does your workspace look so clean? Like, mine is a hot mess.
I have 10 years of experience.
Good. Oh, you also have to try this. It's like a custard. God. It's so good.
Amber, you have to come clean up this mess.
Nope.
Who could have predicted that this would happen? Anyone?
You did though. Corinne did warn me about this. She did send a meme via text a few days ago that said something about when you have a recipe, you should be able to see photos of the aftermath. And then I told her that the mess that comes from the recipe depends entirely upon the person who's making it.
She victim blamed me.
You call it what you want to, Corinne.
Thank you for the drink.
You're welcome. So Corinne, what do you think about this beverage?
It's not something I would normally make, but only because I usually don't make sugary drinks, and I feel similar to you about carbonation. But I will say, this is delicious, and it's a good treat. It's very Harry Potter.
It's so Harry Potter. I feel like we should be sitting at the 3 broomsticks right now. Okay, my timer just went off, so I'm gonna check on my pasties. How are your pasties looking?
Oops. This is the other reason I'm not allowed to make, is because I forget that things are in there. They look the same. They're not improving. I'm going to turn it up.
And they're not like deep brown like I would want like a croissant to be, but it's American pie dough, which is not my favorite anyway, but it will do for today. Corinne, I do want to ask you a few questions. Our post-event interview. How was this baking experience for you?
Super fun.
Would you make any of this again?
Oh, definitely, but probably not as well.
What makes you say that?
My attention span isn't that great, but when you're here, it is.
I like the honesty.
I'm just gonna call it to be on the safe side. Like, it's hot, so if I like whack it with this fork, like it does squish a tiny bit, but not a lot.
Well, we'll give your pasties a minute to cool off so that you can enjoy one with me, and then we'll see how well it pairs with butterbeer, or find out if Harry Potter characters were giving themselves diabetes slowly for years by eating all of this stuff.
I mean, they are, but they're witches and wizards, so they don't have to worry.
I want to do a taste test with you. Are you ready? Here we go.
That is so good.
Holy cow. It's like the perfect balance. It's not super sweet, but that pumpkin filling, I'm actually kind of want to dip like, dip it into my whipped cream.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Mm.
But you dipped it in your whipped cream?
Uh-huh. I mean, from a drink. But it's really good.
Oh my god. That's next level.
I'm glad I only made 8 right now because I will eat all of these before dinner.
I have like 15 over there.
Tell me your honest opinion. Was this a success?
Yes, I actually like how savory it is because I feel like the sweetness is implied, sort of, if that makes sense. And I actually like, despite having declared that I love creme brulee, like I'm more of a savory than a sweet person most of the time.
I feel like most of the people in my life are that way.
I ate/used so much of this.
Good. You don't want to have leftovers just sitting around.
I mean, there wasn't that much sugar in it, right? So really, I just ate a lot of vegetable.
You did.
Temptress.
Well, you didn't nickname me that for nothing. All right, Corinne. Well, that is it for this episode of Baking and Boozing. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had an absolute blast. I'm thrilled with the way this recipe came out. I wasn't really sure what to expect, nor was I sure what to expect with all of our pumpkin pasties. But all in all, I am pleased. How are you feeling about this?
Oh my gosh, everything is amazing, and you made it so easy to do.
Hopefully, next time we bake together, we'll be able to bake in person and we can booze in person at the same time. But until then, this was Baking and Boozing. Thank you for joining me and have a great evening.
Mwah!